how much have you seen, and how have you seen Andrell Anthony grow from when he arrived to this point?
Yeah, I knew about Andrell in high school, so I've been following him since he was in high school, and you know, to where he is today. And one of the biggest things with Andrell is he continues to, you know, he's understanding the game of football. You know, he challenges himself to do everything right. You know, from not only just, you know, being a vertical threat or a guy that just, you know, flashes his athleticism. He wants to know the ins and outs of the game. You know, Andrell wants to know how can he be a more dominant blocker. And you know, he'd look in my room. I have about 6 pictures, and it's Steve Preston, Jason Avant, it's Marquise Walker, David Terrell, and Braylon Edwards. And those were the core guys I played with at Michigan. And just, you know, just a history lessons for the boys. Anytime they come in the office, we just talk about the legacy of Michigan football and, you know, the great tradition of wide receiver play. And you know, Andrell, one of the guys that he wants to emulate is Braylon. You know, the things that Braylon's done on the field, and you know, you look at it, they're very similar. You know, body structure, and you know, I can obviously share stories because I played with Braylon for 2 years, and just how Braylon attacked the game, and you know, Andrell wants to add that to his game.
Who's Steve Preston on this team?
Who would be? You know, Steve Preston has. There's a few guys. You know, Ronnie has a little Steve Preston in him. Very slippery, deceiving. You know, Steve had. My teasing, Steve had the awkward running. You know, look, but he always runs away from you, and he's hard to tackle. And Ronnie's the same way. You know, Steve's probably a little taller than Ronnie, but very, very, very savvy football players that, you know, are deceptive with their speed and their elusiveness.
John?
You mentioned the room's loaded. It was loaded last year. It's probably even more loaded, obviously, with running back. But how do you keep everybody happy? This is the overall.
We compete. You know, what I know about Michigan football and wide receivers, we've always been loaded. You know, this has been a position that has, like I mentioned, great history, great tradition, and you know, one of the things is you compete. You know, and not necessarily, you know, you don't have to be the starter to compete, right? You know, you want to get on the football field and you know, whatever you have to do. If your role is blocking, if you are a deep ball guy, if you are a guy that moves the chains, whatever it may be, you compete your butt off and you try to get an opportunity to play on the football field. But our guys have that understanding that, you know, the best players will play, and the guys who do things well will get an opportunity to showcase what they can do.
Michael?
Last year, Cornelius finished with the most receptions and yards on the team. But if you kind of look at his game-by-game production, if you look at the Ohio State, Georgia, Penn State, Michigan State, that was a really small percentage of his overall output. What does he need to do to find more success against the higher levels of competition and not just maybe the first half of the schedule?
Yeah, I think just going back, some of those teams identified him as the #1 guy. So what do you do with the #1 guy? You try to take him out of the game plan by doubling him. So I think schematics, from a schematic standpoint, you know, CJ saw some of those things. You know, people rolling the coverage his way, or he's going against the top corner on each team. So, but having, like I say, having a guy like Ronnie back, kind of that eliminates that. You know, you have a plethora of guys, plethora of options, and it's almost from a defensive standpoint, it's like pick your poison. You know, the guys have you know, really responded, and we challenged them. You know, in my mind, in their minds, they're all #1s. You know, and we go out there every day and we compete that way.
Aaron?
Rowland had some big games last year. Where have you seen most growth from him this offseason?
You know what? Roman has a great understanding of football. What I love about the guys, I love about the room, the fact that, you know, guys like Roman, this is 3rd year in the system, he has what we call positional flexibility. You know, you can move him around, and I think that's, you know, that really helps us. That guys, you can't just key on the guy and say, hey, this guy plays, you know, this position. You know, our guys, you see our guys all over the football field playing multiple positions, and I think that's what you need to ascend to be, you know, one of the best position groups. And you know, I think you'll put defenses in more conflicts than not.
Ryan?
Well, what impacts do you think NIL has had on recruiting?
I mean, the thing is, you want to recruit kids that want to come to Michigan. And, you know, that has to be the #1 option, #1 thing. And if it is not, probably recruiting the wrong kid. You know, but you know, NIL is real. It's something that we know about, and you know, you have to come to Michigan. You have to want to come to Michigan, and you know, really that's what we focus on. Guys that talk about the growth at Michigan. How can they grow as a student athlete? How can they grow as a person on and off the field? And that those things aren't the top criteria for a kid, then it probably isn't the place for them.